Hellfest is a new horror slasher that just came out. And from the trailers and the fact that it didn't do any early reviews, I was a little bit worried about this movie. But still, I love going to see horror movies with my brother on Thursday night when they first come out. So we decided to check it out, and I liked it a lot more than I was expecting to.
A couple years ago, some girl got totally gutted.
The killer left her body in the park for 3 days. They thought she was a freaking prop.
Some people are just evil.
They walk among us.
You know, we haven't had a good slasher for a while. And I know there's probably going to be a really good one, Halloween, coming out later this year. But with this one, I got a lot that I enjoyed. You know, they did a lot of interesting things once they got past the horrible intro to the characters that is so poorly written and acted. And it's just like, oh, just please, just, why do horror movies have to have such horrible cold opens? It's like, and in this one, you didn't really get to know the people. It's like there's all this drama where, like, the main girl is like, I think she's away at college, but they don't really make it that clear. And like her former best friend is living with this other girl that at first appears to be a lesbian, but then she's like a bitch that seems like a bit of a whore. And it's like, what? I mean, they're not doing like normal character tropes, and that's fine because like once they actually got to the the amusement park, I kind of liked all the characters, even though some of them are over the top. But like they have to form this like the woman, the girl, like super bitchy to the old friend, and it's like, and they're like, oh, I didn't expect you to come. It's like, but why? Why didn't you expect her to come? It's like, just skip all that and get to the better parts. Because I think that movie would be more interesting almost if like the main character was the killer, because they do a lot of interesting things with him, and because like, you know, when you first see him, like it's just like almost like you're right. That's like a third person viewpoint where like almost like in a video game where you're kind of like right behind him, and you don't even see him because he's just walking. And, you know, he's walking through the metal detectors. And you see no one's noticing him. Like, you know, the metal detector guy, you know, calls him through, but he beeps because he has steel-toed boots. And he uses a wand and says, oh, it's just your boots. Okay, go on ahead. And you see that no one notices him because he looks normal. Like, there's nothing deformed about him. There's nothing weird about him. He just looks like a normal guy. And I kind of love that angle. And I also, like, really like what they did later on because for most parts in the movie, like you have these group of friends and they're in like a haunted house experience, like a bunch of mazes, and they think that, you know, that this stuff is fake. And like one of the first main death scenes, I love the idea. It's probably the creepiest scene in the movie where the main girl sees this other girl being chased and this murderer comes in and like stares at them and is like, hey, why are you looking at me? You're off script. The girl is over there, hiding behind that there. And then like, and he goes over and pulls the girl out, and it's like, and she like kind of berates him, like cheers him on. Well, go ahead, kill her. You know, do what you're supposed to do. And he actually does murder her. And it's like he could have like started the horror right there, but at the same time, it's like, wow, that looks pretty real. But it's like, oh well, cool. And then she leaves, and it's like, I like that, because like the viewer knows that was real. And I like that interplay that they do. And they do that multiple other times where there are reveals that, you know, it seems like this guy has brought his own mask to the Hellfest. But then at a certain point, they're showing that there are a bunch of other people with the same mask. And it's like, oh, but one thing I wish they would have done, which would have made it so much better, is if at a certain point the viewer maybe thought that this was just not a real serial killer. Maybe it was just part of the show. Like, I mean, it was tough to do because it looked really real earlier. But But I think they could have done something like that to make it like the viewer question themselves too. But the viewer the whole time knows that there's a serial killer. And I think it could have been interesting if they tried done more to make the viewer question themselves instead of having the characters in the movie not sure whether this is all still just the game, still just, the health vest and people acting, or if it's something more. And I like the setup for the first, like, friend deaths. You know that a lot of the people are expendable. And they kind of throw some of the tropes. They think that there's, like, one of the people that you think may last more is one of the first main people to die. And I like that they did that. And I like the kill scene is pretty good. And it's filmed kind of practical and looks really gory and great. But it's like, bam. Like, you get, like, a split image of it. And it's like, oh, I don't know if the MPAA threatened him with a higher rating than R or what. But it's just like, you filmed a really cool practical effect. And it looked really good. But then you do it so quick that it just kind of ruins the moment when you don't actually get to see it more. And also, I like this, though, that, again, that the character development of the murderer is really kind of interesting because you see this person that's going to be killed, like he's like exploring an area and he finds like this hammer, like one of the hammers to do that, hit the bell and win a prize or whatever, and he tries to pick it up and it's like too heavy for him to pick it up, and he's like, and walks away, and then you see the killer pick it up like it's nothing and use it to kill the person, and it's like, I like that, just kind of showing that he's really strong without going out of the way, like, to make him, like, like, make him look freaky. Like, he still looks normal, but he's, like, like, he's really strong, And I like how they do that without, they showing and not telling. I like almost everything they did with the murder I really liked. And, having it set in, like, a haunted house, like, a horror, like, fake sort of thing. It made it so that they could probably do it relatively cheaply, but have it be real because, it's set in a crappy haunted house. So it's like, all this different stuff, it just kind of, that's what it'd be. And I liked a lot of stuff they did with it. And I also like, again, there are a couple times where the murderer wants to use stuff that the park has set up to kill one of the friends, and then it turns out that, well, they kind of have safeguards, so he can't do that. So we have to try to figure out a way to work out of that. And there are also the second death scene is kind of cool. Like, it involves like a syringe, like a prop that he used for not how it was designed, but it looks pretty cool, and it looks, again, practical and looks pretty good. But, and that, they actually show it all. They don't turn away right away. But then after that, the death scenes are just kind of throwaway. And it kind of works because, like, if you want to be, like, almost kind of brutal, like, so, like the game kind of shows that, that, okay, now it's not, you can tell it's not a game, this guy's a murderer. But he just kind of, like, stabs people. And it's like, I would have liked more creative death scenes for those people instead of just stabby. And I mean, it's fine. I kind of like the idea that this guy would come in and, without any weapons, and then find a vendor that's doing, like, shaved ice and get, like, an ice pick and use that to murder people. But at the same time, like, there's also stuff later. He finds an actual real fireman's axe that's in one of the dolls in one of the mazes. And it's like, why would they use a real fire axe when anyone could just pull it out? Or I mean, the one part that's a sharp end protruding out of it. That's a big risk for them. Someone trips in their horror maze and stabs himself in the eye with the back end of a fire axe. Like, I mean, I think it would have been funnier. They could have had a little bit of humor mixed in too, if he, like, went to use the fire axe and it was rubber or something like that. But, they do what they gotta do. You want to have a guy do a scene where he cuts through a wall with the axe, and it's like, yeah, okay, I see what you're doing. And I just wish they would have kept up some of the stuff. And also, there's this thing that, I kind of like the idea that, the main girl, Bex Taylor-Klaus, like, he's kind of, like, figuring out, the maze and stuff, how things work. Like, you have her earlier saying, oh, look at the hands, that's how you tell which people are real and which are, fake. And then she, at a certain point, she's like, oh, there's a laser at the bottom, so when you go through it, it triggers the room to activate. And they have to, like, that's like a big kind of tense moment when they have to, like, try to step over the laser. And it's like, they use infrared for that, so you can't see it. Even, like, just those crappy little, like, things you get for Halloween that you put up there and you wave in front of it, then they activate. That's why every store that has, like, you have a bell when you walk in is an infrared laser. It's not a green laser that you can obviously step over, but it's for cinematic effect. And I like some of the things that they did. They shrugged some of the tropes of a slasher film, and I like what they did with that. And I really like kind of the ending, like when you like find out a little bit more about the killer. And I really enjoyed how they portrayed him. And I like that the whole movie, like how that that this guy that just looks normal, like there's nothing, he has no reason for doing the murdering. Like you don't have to dive into his past or to dive into like a whole mythos of this guy. I really liked everything they did with the killer. Like I wouldn't mind seeing some sort of sequel to it. But I mean, it's nothing amazing, but I actually enjoyed it a lot. As long as you can ignore the characterization of all of the people and the friends. And even then, like, once they get to the park, they're kind of, like, they have some funny lines and they're enjoyable. But the intro is just so bad. And I thought they were going somewhere different with some of the characters, like, but, once they get to it, it's fine, and I enjoyed it. I don't know if I'd recommend to go to the theater to see it. Like, I think that, my brother, he liked it too, but I think that he said that he probably would have liked it more if he had seen it on Netflix or something, and he didn't have to go out to the movie theater for it. And it's still, I like seeing horror movies in the movie theater, but I don't know if I'd, like, say you have to go out and see it right now. But still, I would recommend it. I give it like an 8 out of 10, 7.75 out of 10. Like, it's a fun slasher flick. But thanks for watching. Check out every playlist on my head and subscribe to me in that Z over there. Thanks.